Have you ever stopped to wonder, could something that once felt natural and harmless actually be affecting your health in ways you never imagined? Especially now, as the years go by and your body changes in subtle, silent ways. As we grow older, preserving our well-being becomes more important than ever. Yet, not everything we once took for granted continues to serve us the same way. There's one habit in particular, something many consider completely normal, that might quietly be placing stress on your body, especially if you're over the age of 65. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at the hidden risks of frequent masturbation in older adults, something rarely discussed but incredibly important. We're not here to judge. This is about awareness, about understanding how your body changes and how some habits might affect you differently than they once did. You might be surprised to learn how this private act can have unexpected effects on your heart, nervous system, energy levels, and even your mood. And by the end of this video, you'll have a clearer picture of how these small choices can add up and what you can do to support your health moving forward. So, stay with me, because what you're about to discover could completely shift the way you think about your everyday habits and your long-term health. Before we dive in, if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to hit that button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an important update. And if this video resonates with you, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Now, let's begin. 1. The silent stress on your heart. One of the most overlooked issues with frequent masturbation later in life is how it can unexpectedly affect your heart and cardiovascular system. At first, this might sound unrelated. How could something so private impact heart health? But the truth is, any activity that spikes your heart rate and blood pressure in short, intense bursts can strain an aging heart. Younger bodies are usually more resilient. Blood vessels are flexible. The heart recovers quickly. But after 65, things change. Arteries stiffen. Recovery slows. The heart becomes more sensitive to sudden exertion, especially the kind that doesn't come with a warm-up, like regular exercise does. Imagine walking up the stairs with a heavy bag of groceries. You feel your heart beating faster, your breathing shift, maybe even a little tired. Now imagine that same response happening in a sudden, intense moment, without warning or preparation. That's when unexpected strain can occur. Let's talk about William, a 72-year-old retired engineer. He kept a balanced lifestyle, watched his diet, stayed active, but he began noticing an odd tightness in his chest and a shortness of breath after certain private moments. It seemed harmless until one episode felt too uncomfortable to ignore. At his next doctor visit, he finally brought it up, and to his surprise, his doctor explained that this was more common than he thought. Especially for men with high blood pressure or a history of minor heart issues, this habit can contribute to heart rhythm changes or fatigue. William wasn't told to stop, just to slow down, stay mindful, and listen to his body. And that's the point. It's not about fear, it's about understanding your limits. As we age, recovery takes longer. What once felt effortless can now be more demanding on the body. Pay attention to signs like dizziness, exhaustion, or chest discomfort. They could be your body's way of asking for a gentler approach. 2. Energy drain and nervous system fatigue. Let's move on to something that's even less talked about. How frequent stimulation can actually wear down your nervous system, leaving you feeling drained, foggy, or just off. Your body runs on energy, mental, physical, emotional, and your nervous system is like the battery that powers it all. In younger years, this battery recharges fast. But as you age, the recharge slows down. And if you're overusing it, without even realizing, you could be running on empty more often than not. Think of your nervous system like a smartphone. When it's new, you can scroll, stream, and chat for hours without losing much battery. But over time, that same phone starts to drain quicker. You have to be more mindful of what apps you're running. The same is true with your brain and body. Meet Richard, a 69-year-old retired teacher. He began feeling tired all the time. He napped more but still felt sluggish. It didn't make sense until he decided to cut back on certain habits for a while. The result? More energy, better focus, improved sleep. He finally felt like himself again. Why does this happen? It comes down to neurotransmitters, chemicals like dopamine that control pleasure, motivation, and mood. Every time you engage in this habit, dopamine is released. But too much stimulation over time can lead to something called dopamine burnout. That's when your brain becomes less sensitive to pleasure, and you start feeling flat, unmotivated, or even mildly depressed. You don't have to quit entirely. Just be aware of how often you're drawing from that battery, and whether it's leaving you more tired than fulfilled. 3. Restless nights and poor sleep quality. Many people believe that this habit helps them relax before bed. And maybe, years ago, it did. But as we age, the effects can flip. Instead of restful sleep, you might find yourself tossing and turning, waking up several times a night or feeling groggy the next morning. Why? Because of how dopamine and melatonin interact. Melatonin is the hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. But dopamine, the chemical released during stimulation, can interrupt that process. The result? Your body struggles to transition into true rest. Gerald, a 74-year-old retiree, always considered himself a good sleeper, but recently he started waking up in the middle of the night, sometimes 3 or 4 times. He changed his routine, cut caffeine, tried everything. Nothing worked until he adjusted this one habit. Suddenly, his sleep improved. He felt refreshed again. There's another factor at play here too. This habit can overstimulate the nervous system, especially when done late in the evening, and that can make sleep shallow, fragmented, and far less restorative. Sleep isn't just about feeling rested, it's your body's time to repair. Poor sleep over time can weaken your immune system, cloud your memory, and raise inflammation levels. If you're waking up tired or struggling to sleep deeply, consider whether this habit might be part of the reason. 4th, prostate irritation and urinary discomfort. This next point is something many men overlook, especially if they've never had urinary issues before. But as you age, frequent stimulation can irritate the prostate, leading to discomfort or changes in how often you need to use the bathroom. The prostate naturally enlarges with age, a condition called benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. This can press against the bladder and urethra, making urination harder, more frequent, or more urgent. Now, add frequent stimulation into the mix. It can cause mild inflammation, muscle tension, and sensitivity in that area. The result? A weaker stream, discomfort, or waking up multiple times at night just to pee. Take Leonard, a 71-year-old former construction worker. He'd never had urinary problems until recently. Suddenly, he was waking up at night, sometimes 2 or 3 times just to use the bathroom. His doctor suggested taking a short break from certain activities, and within a couple of weeks, Leonard noticed real improvement. Again, this isn't about stopping completely. It's about understanding how your body reacts and what it might need now that it didn't before. Stay with me. You've made it this far, and I want to thank you for staying open and curious. What we've talked about today might not be comfortable, but it's important. Awareness gives you power. Power to make better choices, to protect your health, and to feel more in control of your energy, your sleep, your heart, and your life. If you're still watching and found this helpful, type 2 in the comments below. Your feedback keeps this channel alive and helps me continue creating content that supports your well-being. In our next video, we'll explore ways to naturally restore energy, improve sleep, and strengthen heart health without giving up the things that matter most. Until then, take care of yourself. Listen to your body, and remember, every small step you take toward awareness is a step toward a healthier, more vibrant you. Let's talk about something that's rarely mentioned but deeply important: how frequent stimulation may quietly affect your comfort, bladder control, and even your emotional well-being as you age. You might not have noticed it at first, but those nighttime trips to the bathroom? They may not just be a normal part of aging. For many older adults, frequent stimulation can fatigue the pelvic floor muscles, those crucial muscles that help support bladder function. Over time, this can lead to subtle but frustrating issues like urgency, leakage, or the feeling of not being fully in control. The pelvic floor naturally weakens as we grow older. When overstimulated, those muscles don't get a chance to rest and repair, leading to occasional leaks, sudden urges, or trouble holding back. If you've started to notice these signs, even in a small way, it might be your body signaling that something needs adjusting. Simple changes like reducing frequency or incorporating gentle pelvic exercises can go a long way. These muscles, like any other in the body, respond well to care and balance, and listening to your body now can help prevent bigger issues later. Next, let's dive into something that's often overlooked: hormonal balance and your emotional state. Did you know that frequent masturbation can impact key hormones tied to your mood, energy, and overall mental clarity? Hormones like testosterone, dopamine, and oxytocin all shift during and after this activity. And while it may bring temporary relief or pleasure, doing it too often can lead to emotional instability. Let's consider Edward, a 68-year-old who had always been positive and clear-headed. Over time, though, he started to experience unpredictable mood swings, feeling energized one day and emotionally low the next. When he evaluated his daily habits, he realized the pattern. After giving his body more time between moments of stimulation, his mood and energy became more stable. One reason for this shift is dopamine depletion. Each time you stimulate this pleasure chemical, it brings a high, but overuse can lower your brain's sensitivity to it, leaving you feeling unmotivated or even mildly depressed. And in older adults, the nervous system takes longer to recover. Testosterone also plays a key role. While it's naturally lower in later years, frequent release of other hormones, like prolactin, can suppress it even further, leading to fatigue, loss of drive, or subtle changes in physical strength. This isn't about stopping completely. It's about spacing things out, giving your system time to reset, and respecting your body's new rhythm. Now, let's look at something more physical: sensitivity and satisfaction. Over time, too much of the same stimulation can dull your body's response. What once felt easy and pleasurable may now feel weaker or less rewarding. This is called desensitization, when your nerve endings become so used to a repeated stimulus that they stop responding the way they used to. Robert, a 73-year-old former musician, noticed this exact change. It wasn't sudden, but it was clear. What once felt effortless now took more time and focus. After reducing frequency and letting his body rest, his sensitivity gradually returned. He was surprised to feel pleasure more naturally again, without trying so hard. The body adapts to patterns. Repetitive, high-frequency stimulation can exhaust your nerve endings, alter how your brain processes pleasure, and even reduce excitement in other areas of life. The good news? Giving your body time between sessions can reverse a lot of this. Rest can bring back what was lost. There's also the emotional side to consider, feelings of loneliness and disconnection. While this habit may bring comfort in the moment, relying on it too often can gradually isolate you from others. Human beings need emotional connection, shared moments, conversation, and touch. When solitary habits become the main source of emotional relief, the drive for real interaction can fade. James, a 75-year-old widower, began spending more time alone after his wife passed. His habits felt safe, even soothing, but over time he realized he wasn't reaching out to friends or joining in on anything social. After reflecting, he made a conscious effort to rebalance his life. Community events, coffee with old friends, small things that made a big difference in how connected and alive he felt. Solitude isn't bad, but too much of it, especially when paired with habits that don't require emotional interaction, can lead to feelings of emptiness and emotional detachment. And finally, let's return to the pelvic floor, because its strength affects more than we realize. Harold, a 70-year-old retired mechanic, started noticing he had to use the bathroom more often, especially at night. He also noticed occasional leaks when sneezing or laughing. He assumed it was just aging, but after learning about the link between pelvic floor fatigue and frequent stimulation, he made some changes. With pelvic exercises and more rest between sessions, he regained better control and comfort. These muscles are like any others. They need time to recover. Without it, they weaken, leading to more frequent urges, trouble emptying the bladder, and even disrupted sleep due to nighttime awakenings. Overstimulation can also confuse the nerves in that area, sending mixed signals to the brain about urgency, even when the bladder isn't full. The fix? Small, gentle changes. More rest, light strengthening exercises, and a willingness to listen to your body. You'd be surprised how much better things can feel with just a little adjustment. If any of this sounds familiar, know that you're not alone. Many older adults experience these shifts without ever realizing the connection to their daily habits. If you're still with me and these insights have been helpful, type number 8 in the comments to let me know you're here. Your feedback helps us keep creating meaningful content that supports your health, comfort, and well-being.